means I'm not logged in. Okay, my guy, woo, okay. School started for me Tuesday, Thursday. Tuesday was so excellent. My first day of class, actually students I can make fun of and throw stuffed animals at for Hawaiian language. And there's something about throwing stuffed animals at people that just is very satisfying as a teacher. Okay, let's talk rather quickly about some of the things. Let's see if we can get out of here a little early because somebody has an open house today. What happened last week that you guys on your meetup that sort of resonated?
On me, man.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do this, bro. We're all in the canoe together. We'll try to beach as best we can at the same time. What sort of resonated with people last week? Oh shoot! What am I doing? What? Nice try, guys. I need a level no L. We'll do it quick. Give me an level no L.
Nana Ike Kumu.
Okay, Nana Ike Kumu. I'm gonna write right here. I'm gonna start categorizing them. Nana Ike Kumu. I'm gonna categorize this as a learning and humbleness category. Let me Nana Ike Kumu. Some other people start looking up. This is gonna be our category of learning and humbleness. Okay, and you'll see what I mean because what's the next one? Nana Ike Kumu, look to the source. What's the next one, guys?
Oh,
poor Keiki. Ohe pauka ike. Thank you for that. Ohe pauka ike falls under the humbleness category, right under learning and humbleness. Ohe pauka ike, like that. I'm going to draw a small little iceberg to remember. Ohe pauka ike, ika halau ho'okahi, under learning and humbleness. Next one.
I
put that one right here. Thank you. Ika olelo. And it has a weird category because it's so unique to all the other proverbs. And one of the reasons I teach it as one of the first proverbs, Ika olelo no keola. And then you know the rest. And we already know, I think I've implanted in you this whole little, it's because we don't have writing, do these things become so important, like this, like that. But I put this category as, in a way, it's absolute power. That's the only thing I could think when I come to mind when I think about it. It falls, and it's the only one that falls into this. Absolute power in your words. You have absolute choice. Yeah, you have absolute choice. Learning and humbleness. What's the next one?
My ponohana e pono.
Yeah. Right here, my ponohana e hana pono. We're gonna put it my ponohana. I'll categorize that later. My ponohana e hana pono. That one intentfulness, everybody was saying. Particularly you, Mr. Rob. My ponohana e hana pono. What's another one?
Hey, my Pa'a Ike Ko'o.
Right there, thank you. And what does that mean?
It's about leadership and teamwork. The banana tree is strong because of those surround it.
It's solid. Pa'a. You're so pa'a. You're going to get pa'a to these olelo no el or pa'a ike ko'o. Excellent. Ike ko'o. Okay. And what's another one? Yes, Ali, you can talk anytime you want, or you raise your hand, or were you waving at somebody? I don't know who you're talking to. Are you teaching class while you're taking class? I know.
No.
Okay.
My maka'ui kahana, maka'ui
Oh,
tomala.
my maka'u kahana. Right above this one. My maka'u. Can you translate that for us, please? What does that mean, Miss Ali?
Sorry, I'm muted. Don't procrastinate.
My maka'u. Oh, you're killing me.
Don't fear the work, fear the lazy.
Okay, yeah. I say, well, I don't see anything.
Busy waving at the passerby.
I'm trying to just winging it. Okay, what's another one? Miss Chelsea, did you give me one? I can't.
My kali apau kaniho.
Oh, what does that translate to? My kali.
Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, that's the don't procrastinate, but can you translate the line? My kali apau kaniho. What does that say? Can you translate that? My kali apau kaniho.
Don't wait till your teeth are gone.
Yeah, don't wait until finish the teeth. So don't procrastinate. My Kali Apaucanijo, this is what I call, this category is called the work punctuality. Work punctuality, that's obviously the first one, punctuality. And then determination, or we should put intent. I think I like intent rather than just determination. And then, of course, your ethic, which is kind of the intent. So all these, my Kali Apaucanijo is punctuality. My Maka'o Kahana, that's to be determined. Just do it, not to be lazy. And then ethic. My Ponohana Ihana Pono, do it right. What's another one?
Nana kamaka ho'olohe
Oh,
kapepea.
wow. Yeah, we got that one coming
Pa'akuaha.
right here. I'm going to blue. Okay, you got it. Nana Kamaka. Rather, it's the only one that sounds like Nana Ikikumu. Nana Kamaka. Okay. And then Ho'olohe, we'll throw that in there and I'll probably wrap it right about there. Ho'olohe, Kapepeao, Hanakalima, Ho'olohe ka Pepeao. Maybe I'll write it a little longer since I have room on the board. Pepeao. Okay, everybody, somebody thinking the next one. Hanakapepe, Ho'olohe Kalima. And then what's the last one? Ho'olohe Kapepeao.
Pa'akawaha.
Oh, pa'akawaha. Got it. Thank you very much. That same pa'a as the banana, pa'akawaha. Why do we do this? Because
Makahana ka'ike.
makahana ka'ike. In makahana ka'ike. Okay, like that. Let's see. Okay, that was all of this one, and then we have one more right here.
Ho'okahihoi.
Oh, there it is. Just tell me the three endings. Ho'okahi hoi.
Holo.
Polo.
Holo, what's the next one?
Pa'e.
Pie. It's almost like apple pie. Yeah. Pie. Ho'okahi va'a. And then we say, hey
Hey,
ohana. Yeah, hey ohana. This whole group right here, I'm going to stick in the title for it. This is obviously, we know these are models of family, leadership, that's the mai'a, and teamwork, the canoe, all these. So these are the things that when I see these things happening with my students, with friends, with kids I'm mentoring, teamwork, I think of these things in these categories. This is how they start growing, right? So if I see some teamwork or something, I can talk about either of these things. In fact, one of these things, I'll tell you how we ended up using it. Okay, great job on those Olelo no Eao. We have, we'll probably, maybe we'll do one right now, a new one, just to keep moving on the Olelo no Eao. Our new, can you guys see me? I'm gonna go right here. Ready, here it goes. I'll put it in blue since it goes like this. Like this, okay? Gotta start translating. Let me think real quick. I'll try right big. Okay. I'm gonna make you guys write it for me. I'll stop right there. This. Okay, can we translate some of this?
Huli, turn.
Oh, it means a turn. Just like the taro plant that we talked about, it flips. And we talked about the canoe on the canoe model, the ho'okahi hoi, the canoe flip. This means to flip or turn. And we got two of them, so that's cool. Turn and turn. To every season, turn.
So
Okay.
it's turn chicken.
Say again? Like huli huli chicken. It spins, yeah. It
Yeah.
flips over, yeah. Huli chicken. Huli huli
Okay.
chicken. Okay, any other words that you spoke up, Mr. Robin? I'm gonna get some hours out of you because you're running away to open house. Any of these words you know, Mr. Rob? Can you see that okay?
Lima is a body part.
Yeah, what body part is it? We said it over here. huh?
Ebea's ears. Oh, hands maybe. Thanks.
Yeah, this means
to
hands.
Ali and Kala. Thank you.
Oh, giving little hand signs, I see, about hands.
They were giving me a
No,
hand. No
no.
pun intended.
So I'll
No.
tell you, this is why this comes here, because you've learned all the words. It's intentful, right? We're doing it this way. Okay, any other words we know or want to use? Translate.
Hola,
Hola.
life.
Hola means life. Any others? Miss Rhonda? Kind of quiet.
The,
Oh, boy, you jumped on it. Got the
that's
ball.
my signature translation.
Yeah, good. Okay, I'm going to ask you, Miss Melissa, what is this word?
I don't know.
Oh, give me a guess. Because I'm going to ask Mahia. I know she's going to tell me right now. You ready to get? What? I'm sorry, excuse me?
I said make.
Of course it's make. Of course it is. Who said that?
Me.
Oh, very nice.
I guessed.
You said it in such a doubtful voice I didn't recognize. And what is this one going to be? I'm going to need Miss Chelsea maybe. Or Miss
Luna?
Luna, of course. And so, Miss Bahir, what does Lalo mean?
Down.
Oh, that's what it says.
Means down. Oh, I'm sorry, my writing that's a. And therefore, Luna means up.
Upward.
Somebody give me a transliteration of what this says. Man, we're rocking it. We're moving quick. I'm glad. Give me a
Wait,
transliteration.
can I ask a question?
Yes, Miss Rhonda.
Hawaiian word for down, because I can't really see it.
It's Lalo.
Lalo.
Yeah, Lalo. It'll be in the notes. You'll see it when I post it. But
Okay.
thank you for asking. My writing is pretty shabby.
Well, it's just kind of like not dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody give me a transliteration, Miss Ali, the one who sits in front of the boys' bathroom after school. What? Is her screen frozen? Are you there, Miss Ali? Is your screen frozen? Oh, she's the one who puts up the fake picture. It looks like she's there, but it's just a picture of her there. Nah, I think our camera's frozen. Okay, Mr. Kalakawai.
Sorry,
Oh, your picture is still. We'll let you
Keep
come back. When you
freezing.
come back, I'll harass you. Mr. Kalakawai, give me a transliteration.
Turn the hands down for life.
Yeah, and Owaiko no Okailio. What's the dog's name?
Mooney.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Mooney. Mahina.
Oh, Mahina. Oh, Mooney. Mahina.
She
Mahina.
barked it. Hold on.
Barks at the moon. Barks at herself. Mooney. Okay. Miss. Well, you got the first line. Mahia, can you translate the second line?
Turn the hands up. Death.
That's the. Well, that was loon. Wait. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I thought you were reading that top line again. So now, okay, that's a transliteration. That probably didn't help, but somebody tell me, what does this really say? Give me the translation. We're only going to do 15-second Socratic delays here. We'll keep- in medicine, they pimp you. They'll ask you questions like this, and then they'll just stare at you, waiting for you to answer. And if you don't answer, ooh, but if you answer wrong, ooh, they look at you worse, and they'll ask a different, more difficult question.
I'll make a stab at it, but I'm probably
Okay.
wrong.
Go
Probably
ahead.
wrong. Is
No.
it something like hands down means life, hands up means death?
Yeah, very nice. Now, how about an interpretation, Miss Melissa?
Hands up means life. Does it have to do with praying?
No, but not that I read into it. I mean, you might be able to read it. You guys often read things into it. I said, wow, that would be something I could say. It could be seen this way, you know, if it's a praying thing, but not in this particular case. I think the meaning is fairly clear. Any guesses there, Mr. Rob? Get all abstract on me.
Yeah, let life happen. Stand up to death. I don't know. Be courageous.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Going for it. It goes like this. Huli kalima ilalo e ola. Huli kalima iluna e make. I'll try one more time. Huli kalima ilalo e ola. Huli kalima iluna e make. What are they saying?
Is it like working with your hands brings life and then not working with your hands brings death?
Yeah, when you turn your hand up and just say, give me, just give me. Oh, that doesn't end well.
So like hard work brings life and begging brings death?
Not typically, it's just what it really is saying, and there's a couple of ways you guys interpreted these olelo no eao are very accurate, but probably not the way you would use it on students. So I wouldn't say like this, yeah, if you don't work, you're gonna die, you little punks. No, what it's really emphasizing, when you put your hands down and get to work, that's how you live, right? Because the other part is if you don't ever put your hands down and you just beg yourself, then that's not going to turn out well for you. It's not. You try to always, with any of these proverbs, because you know you're really saying them on behalf of 1,000 years of ancestors who've passed this down to us. You're really trying to lift people, you know. You really try to lift. Even if somebody you know they're lazy, say, hey, e huli kalima ilalo e ola, you know. And then you could later on tell them what the second half is, because you certainly don't want to just go around like this with your hands up, turned up, right this way. Okay, that's good enough for today. For this olelo no eao. I have one more olelo no eao, but we got some crazy things to talk about. I'll take a breath. People always tell me I talk too fast, so I'll try to speak slower and let you guys. Okay, let's talk about our meetup. What happened at the meetup? What really resonated with you guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everybody's here. I promised myself if everybody showed up, we'd do the 2 truths and a lie. But if we have time and we can rip this class, we're gonna rip them, and then we'll do our 2 truths and a lie, and then we'll let Mr. Rob run away. Okay, things that happened on the. You guys shared a lot of the same things that were very important. Somebody tell me what their take-home messages were from our last meetup.
Well, I was kind of like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes,
I keep talking too much. Okay.
my biggest takeaway is working with intent or having good intent.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, what you had really said, the things that I picked up on your writing was that you mentioned one of the things that it was that motorcycle intent. And I liked Rob. Yeah, I think I kind of tripped up Kung Kiai. Actually, it was the first time I ever had anybody, you know, say the right answer. And if my question, when I doubted was, were you guessing it or did you really mean turn right and go left? The idea, why would I give that whole idea of that motorcycle? What was the purpose of that? It's so abstract. I mean, it's actually, I saw it proved mathematically it was a dynamics class. It took 2 of these boards. He just calculated it. Why turning right makes your bike go left. It's these deviations, the deviations of torque vectors is what causes it to happen. But outside of that, we do it anyway without knowing all the math. But why would I give the lesson? What were you saying, Melissa?
Sometimes step up to the status quo. You got to do what's right over what everyone else does.
Rick Rob. I love it. You make these everything like this warrior. Be courageous. In this case, Melissa mentioned intent. But okay, so you know, be intentful with what you do. But what's happening with this motorcycle that's so unusual? Why this example?
Because you have to pull super hard.
Once you know what you have to, because believe it or not, you have to do it anyway, and you will do it. You would get on that motorcycle track and you would just make it. You wouldn't even know you were doing it. But now that you know you're doing it, now that you know, you will do it much better, much more clearly, much more efficiently. All of you can go into the classroom and teach, but do it with intent, knowing what's happening. You have to know your students, what will grab them. You have to know how to speak. You have to know how to whisper sometimes, and then say yes. And then, you know, do everything you can with intent. And that motorcycle was the classic example because all of you would, it happens on bicycles too. Anything where you're rolling fast enough that you don't have to steer, it will just roll all on it. It'll keep you stable all on its own. Once you're moving that fast, the whole turn right to go left, turn left to go right thing kicks in. In actuality too, when you're trying to turn, when you want to go right, you're going to pull this one left and you're going to hang your weight on this handlebar and your bike will turn this way. Your motorcycle will turn this way. Or your bicycle, in bicycle racing, they're pulling, they're doing the same thing. Anything with a big gyroscope. And that's, I love it because when you're on a motorcycle, if you ever have a chance, you just lean into that turn, you're just pulling it, trying to turn left and your bike is going to book off to the right. Knowing what you're doing, always, always, always. It's always intent. In fact, I'm just going to sneak this little phrase in here. So when we do things, we do with intent, okay? And then we said this is going to be Ohana. And so, because I want to emphasize this, how this again ties in. What you do intentfully to your Aino or how your community even. What you're going to do is your Ohana. So literally your community could be your school. So what you do, you service or you do it with intent. What you do with your Ohana or your class could be one of your Ohana, you do with intent. You knew what it was, you knew what the plan was. I'll give you a quick little example without trying to, where's my thing on? I'll give you a really fast story, but I should, let me put on the right, let me see. I'm gonna have to set up, I got so many things here. Right here. It's gonna be really long, right there, okay. Okay, we'll go, okay. I'm going to tell you a really kind of quick story. Let's see, there, and which has to do with this intentfulness. Without taking up too much time, I'm going to tell the story really quick. And so that's kind of why let me move this up. Okay, it's kind of why oops, crapola. How do I do this? Wait, hold on. That is totally not what I wanted. It's this way. I'm sorry. I'm going to unshare for a bit. I'm losing precious minutes. Yeah. As I try to hide it, I then move to the wrong slide. What we're going to get to that slide soon enough, right here. Okay, without messing anything up. I just don't want you guys to really see what's happening until you need to see what's happening. Okay, share. The screen right here, as you can see, it's the same thing with that motorcycle rider. And it was the same thing when I told you about the boys and the girls on the canoe. If you would have asked the other supposed teachers that were with me, you know, the ones that got A's in the class or that got A's for the assignment that whole summer, they would have never noticed the lesson. Always look for the lesson in everything. Look for the positive lesson. Look for that positive lesson. Now, there was something at the same group of kids, I wanted to take them, typically it's a good team building thing, and it's called the blind mute. So I wanted the kids to go through sort of an obstacle course for one of the days that for the 6 weeks we were together. One of the excursions we went on was an obstacle course. And when I paired them all up, and one was going to be blindfolded, who was going to be paired up with somebody who's muted. Has anybody seen this kind of exercise or done this exercise before? It's really something. I did it for the immersion school, but you need an obstacle course, and I'll tell you what I mean. Where I brought them was to this bridge in Hanapepe, Kauai, which is only about 15-minute drive from our school. We drove around the corner, right, is where we landed. But before I wanted to do the lesson, I wanted to look and see. Everybody knows the Hanapepe swinging bridge. Everybody knows it. Everybody's been on it, but I guarantee you they've never been on it blind. So I said, what am I going to do? I just don't want them to walk across the bridge and walk back. So I ended up bringing those two others that got A's. I keep mentioning that. We went across this bridge. I shook it, said, oh, this is going to be exciting. And then across the side, there's a forest. And I said, oh, we can go this way. You're going to have to duck underneath these tree branches right here. And over there, we have to climb over this mound of like bushes. And then we can make another turn. And I just walked around. And then I went, and what did I find? I found the banana tree in the middle of the forest. Perfect. This is where we'll stop. And guess what I talked about when we stopped? I talked about Hemai'a, Uapa'i Ko'o, being a team, right there. And then, so what I did, once again, I walked, but I planned this whole event ahead of time, the day before. I walked, I'll be good. And then you find a different path to come back, a different path, and you'll see why. I got all the kids together. I said, I need you guys to pair up. They paired up. Unfortunately, we had one guy that didn't have a match. So I said, okay, I made the dumbest mistake, that probably one of my career blunders. I said, okay, I'll pair up with this guy. And then the bigger blunder was I'll be the blind guy. Okay, assuming the two adults that were with me the day before knew exactly what was going to happen. They knew the intent, they knew the idea, they know where we're going. No, they got us completely lost. But when I went across that bridge, okay, I'm going across the bridge, I'm shaking the bridge, because when you're blindfolded, it's very nerve-wracking, it's very kind of freakish, but it's fun for middle schoolers. We went across the bridge. Of course, we kept going and going. I'm saying, you know, I was so disappointed that these college students didn't remember where we walked. It wasn't difficult, but we managed to kind of get some brush and climb through some bushes. And then we got to the banana tree, finally. I said, you guys, how was it? Give me a breakdown. I told them, what do you guys think about it? It was kind of scary, but you had to trust that the person who was leading you, right, knew what they were doing. That you could speak, you were only blind, they could speak, but you were mute, you couldn't talk, you had to somehow communicate, but they could talk to you. So I want to tell you a story about this banana tree right here. Did anybody tell me the whole story again? What's the heaviest edible fruit? And I did the whole thing, and they're guessing and they're joking, and I finally said, it's the banana tree. Tell the whole story. It's about being a team, working together so we can be fruitful. And then I says, okay, and they're eating their snacks because it was a snack time now. Okay, you guys done with your snacks? You ready to go? Yeah. Switch. If you were the mute person, you're now going to be blind. If you're the blind person, you're going to be mute. That's why the path has to be different on the way back. So they don't know. Those that are now blind can't anticipate. We had to walk along a log. I know we had to walk between two trees that were really close together. So the mute person is guiding the blind person. We came all the way back. And we're coming across this bridge. Now I can see. Now I can lead back. Now I didn't need for the whole summer my assistants. They weren't all that helpful, especially on that day. But on the way back, it was interesting because I knew what I was doing now. And I just shook that bridge so hard as the kids were stumbling, trying to come back on that bridge. It was super hysterical, very fun, really just a crazy adventure. But as I'm on this, about where this picture is taken, I was done, and they're coming back, and some of them, the muted ones, just ran. They left their blind person behind. They just ran and joked and everything, and that caught me off guard. Like the message is teamwork, right? And so when they all came off the bridge, intent, look for the lessons. What's the lesson we had there? In that bridge crossing, coming back, what's the lesson? I sat them all down. I said, hey, how'd you guys like that? Oh, cool, it was so fun. It's really enjoyable. Hey, I noticed something though. I noticed halfway across the bridge, some of you abandoned your friends and you were laughing and joking and you ran off the bridge. What was that about? Oh, cool, it was just so fun. I said, that's exactly the thing. The time that you have to be careful about taking care of your friends is when you're having a lot of fun. You're going to be going to high school. You're going to be ending up at some parties maybe, or in college. People are going to be too drunk. They're going to need your hand. But no matter how much fun you're having, don't let go of them. Make sure they get through it all the way till the end. Don't abandon them when they need you to hold their hand the most. And that often is when you're having so much fun, everybody's careless. Do you understand the message? That's what I mean about intent. Look for your lessons at every possible moment. Plan your lessons before you get there. They will have, rather than what a typical excursion is, we'll walk across this bridge and run around and then we'll come back. You could pack it with more interesting lessons that will change their life. That was 20 years ago. I still keep in touch with those students. They're grown up, they have kids now. It's pretty funny. But anyway, that's what I mean. I just want to do that quick message about intent. We got, I'm going to see if we can wrap this in 45 minutes. I'm going to tell you, what were some of the other lessons? There were several of you, Lee, you mentioned motorcycle and intent. Motorcycle, Rhonda, you had also mentioned it. You said, you did an interesting thing. You also mentioned something about Ho'oponopono in your, oh, yes, you did mention that you had some Ho'oponopono or intent with that, and how you have some challenges with your kid, your son, I think, right? And I know that that what really brought my attention to it was Kalawai. He also mentioned it in the remark, where sometimes you're really your parenting is stronger than maybe the kid was ready for. That's so not rare. It's what a lot of parents do. We're humans. But what you did reveal, and your son was such the mature, you did something right, because he was mature enough to right there in his own words say, it's okay, Mom, it's okay. The hardest part is to say, I could have done better, and you'll just beat yourself up about it. I remember my mom was the nicest mom, and I used to do the dumbest things just out of, she made the rules clear, I'd break the rules, and it would just crush her. And to this day, I still feel, gosh, what a terrible son. I'm a nice kid, but sometimes when I break the rules, I just make dumb rules. But it's to have to forgive yourself. Because you did something right. But, work on that. And I know that, Mr. Kalawai, you mentioned that about your kids. There'll come a time. And I still mentioned to my mom, I'm so sorry about that day. She goes, oh, okay, and she probably doesn't think about it anymore, but I'm still beating myself about it. One question I have really quick, Mr. Robert, you mentioned, I just wanted to be clear, is you said there were two parts of the kalo that you remember in your notation? You said, there are two parts of the kalo that you plant them or regrow them or something like that?
Yeah.
There's only one. We pulled it out, we cut the leaves off, we eat them. And you cut most of the root off, and that's what you're going to steam and pound into poi.
So it's just the stem?
It's just the huli. And it's called the huli, like we said, because it looks just like this, but has a little bulb on the end. And you flip it over, and you stick it back in the ground, and it grows. And so you save all your huli. You save your huli. And that's going to be an important message later. But what I also liked was that you, in your own writing, you mentioned the kalo, right, that you planted, and that it was the big brother, or it's the big brother, and that it tied in with the mana circle. Chelsea, if I might do it quickly. Well, let me see, anybody else mentioned kalo? Oh, Kalawai, what did you mention about kalo? Of something very interesting.
I did?
Yeah, kuliana and
Oh, Kulana.
kulana. I mean, just the fact
Yeah.
that you make it, just like I made it on the board. I want these things to connect in your mind, but nobody connected like Chelsea connected. You did this, my makaukahana, and you immediately drop back, right? Like my makaukahana, my makaukahana, makaukamoloa. Just, I was thinking about that, and I would have applied it to that kolohe keiki, which I thought was very interesting, because you said it might be hard, where you immediately started in your writing, changed it to challenge. You're hard, and then you started calling it challenge. And then at the same thing, you talked about the sovereignty, about Kumu. Somebody had mentioned something about Kumu Lake. It'd be interesting to discuss more about what he was saying, but then you had said, but I think this is what he really meant to say. And it was very meaningful. But you said sovereignty, that we're working towards like personal sovereignty, which is what I try to do. And that moment, that was my lesson. I will stand next to Kumu and create sovereign people. And when sovereign people stand together, it doesn't even matter what nation you call them. They are a nation. And they will continue to be a nation. And they will have children that will be sovereign themselves. That is a never lose situation. But for those who are fighting for sovereignty, I got it. I got it. You're fighting for that sovereignty. And one day, Kumu Lake and I, and all the cultural practitioners will come and restore what it means to be Hawaiian in a Hawaiian sovereign state or nation. But then you tied that, he says, that reminded me like Nana Ike Kumu, because we need to find that culture, which of course takes me to the iceberg. And this happens more today in a lot of your guys' writing, that it's happening. I've never seen it happen all like this. So you're just connecting all these things together, because in the end, you're really just going to remember one thing, and it will all just connect to everything else that you need to know. You'll remember right in the middle of the analysis, and you can back analyze or forward analyze. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk a little. The gender equality. I don't think I have any more gender equality ones. But yeah, some of you mentioned that the idea of the gender equality, let me just reiterate, since many of you mentioned it was kind of an important part of what you were thinking, was to say this, that we're not looking for males and females to be equal, because they will never be equal. They are completely different, powerful in their own right. And I tell you, actually, men will never be as powerful as women. The moment I saw a childbirth, I think I told you that. That was an amazing miracle. And it was weird, because you think, oh, after you deliver like 25 or 30, like it'd be, no, it's always crazy. Like, wow, a human creating more humans, right? And like, IP standing up, that's what I say. That's as far as I go with, like, but women, babuya, So, but there are those talents they have. So we have to, when we say gender equality, we really, when we gender, that we see everybody for the mana that they possess individually. Which brings me to that very interesting, Hina Kiahi, Hina Kabai. I'm going to ask this specifically. Rhonda, I even remembered this one. What was your take-home message from Hina Kiahi, Hina Kabai? Just your sort of general assessment, because a lot of people said kind of the same thing, which is why, but they took it and then they curved in a different direction after you.
I do not remember.
Older sibling you started with. She was the older sibling. I said, that's interesting. You put a rank in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry. I think I read it multiple times,
Uh-huh.
trying to figure out the meaning.
Did you read the long one or the short one?
I read both of them.
Okay, good. Okay.
But what I was thinking of was what you talked about with like the canoe and the different roles and responsibilities and how that related to family.
See what I mean? How connect? That's what I mean.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was like wondering if that was part of the message, was like the younger sister taking on the role of her and responsibility of the older sister.
Yeah. Well, they were in different places. They were both demigoddesses, or what they call kupua. One was responsible for the other. But you said, and you made note of that one's the older sibling, and that everybody has different roles, which I said, oh, that's almost there. And I know that ones of you that locked down, I write a little Bravo, meaning when I go to Bravo, that's going to be the end, because you guys are going to snap the piece that's missing. And you said, but do not copy. Everybody has a role in the canoe. The steersman, the person in the steersman can't copy the stroker in the front. Steersman has his own job, right? So I said, oh, that's kind of cool. And then Kalawai, you also said that. You mentioned older sibling. Don't copy, right? So I thought, wow. And then Robert, you mentioned something. Could you elaborate? You used an interesting greed and belief.
Greed?
Remember? Yeah, greed, like selfish. But somebody else mentioned selfish. I said, wow, you guys are all communing,
Well,
psychically.
I like the canoe analogy because it empowers everybody to do their own role. So it's not, hey, I'm going to tell you how to do your role. You do your role, I'll do my role, and let's communicate with each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ron does. That was a great message. Totally. And you said, but with intention. You mentioned in your analysis. Now, here we go. Mahie, you mentioned that you don't copy. Why don't you copy? Because you...
I think I talked about how like having different strengths.
Yeah, strength.
Yeah.
That's what I put. Strength. You have your own strength. However, and I'm going to come to you, Chelsea, last. What was it, Melissa? What did you say? You used the same like others did, intention, but
I felt that the younger sister's intent was in the wrong place, and that's why she burned.
Oh, that's the
So-
same thing Kalakawai said.
Because it wasn't like a pure intent. She just wanted to achieve that kind of status that her sister did. Like she
Mhm.
wanted to be as popular. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. And that's
yeah.
exactly the thing, but it rolls down to the real message. And let me see, I when I get there, I'm gonna try this. So both Kalakawai and Chelsea, okay. Wow. Chelsea, I'll let you go. And then Kalakawai almost said the same kinds of things. It was amazing because Chelsea, tell me your analysis. It started with Kuleana and siblingship. And then, do you remember how you moved forward on that?
No.
So you said Kuleana, just like everybody else. And then you said it's a sibling. We have different siblings, we have different Kuleana. And then you must act with intent. So when I say intent, it means that you're questioning the intent of one, but you know the intent of the other is good. And you said you got to respect your elders. I thought it was cute. An older sister might be your elders. I don't know what you meant when I quoted that. You got to respect your elders. But in the end, the conclusion was what for you, Chelsea? You almost said it like it was a spin-off, like a little artifact on the end. What was your final determination in your write-up? You must
Focus on your own Kuleana.
no, that in a way. Tell us, Kalakawai, what is the final statement of Hina Kiai and Hina Kawai?
Don't be
You said,
Don't
do
be
not
selfish.
copy, but what? I'm gonna get you guys to say it.
be authentic.
Be authentic, because how are you gonna be authentic? You are going to,
Use the strength that God gave you.
what is that strength called?
Mana.
Mana.
Your
Oh,
mana. That's exactly what they
Oh,
have.
wow.
Hina Kiai has the mana with fire, and many of you said it. Many of you said it. Or some said strength. I said, you got to see it. It's not just strength. Because once you say mana, then you're thinking you have mana to take care of your aina, to take care of your community. What are you going to do? You're going to use your mana. And that's what the real message of this is. Because where are you going to, well, and let me also say this. I'll conclude later. But where is that going to be useful? Where would this even make a difference? Why would you need to learn such a lesson? Is right here. Right here. Let me see. Come on, Chair. What are these people doing?
Copying.
They're copying. They're trying to acquire other people's money. I remember when I was growing up, everybody dressed like they were NBA stars. These big old baggy shorts, and all this. That, well, you guys just play basketball. You don't have to look like, the whole image. You're going to have kids that are trying to be gangsters. They're going to want to be like, act like gangsters, talk like gangsters, be like gangsters. And that's, that's a shame, because everybody has their own mana. And that's where I want that lesson to come from. Everybody has their own mana, and you're going to use it, good mana and bad mana maybe. Okay, so I had an interesting thing where this guy named Quentin Kawana Nakoa, he was a rep, and they were trying to get me to run for office. I was working at the legislature. Hey, Kai, can you run? In the Republican side, they're always looking for Republicans to run. There's never enough of them. But anyway, and so I said, no, it's not my space right now. I'm the committee clerk. I'm going to be a committee clerk. And then he called me to his office. He was the head of the Republican representative. So he called me to his office and said, Kathy, we have our Republican get together. And I want to ask a favor. Can you chant me in to the event? And I said, wow, Kawana Nakoa? Hell yeah, I could chant you in. That's an elite line that's known, right? The Kawana Nakoas. And then, so I said, yeah, I'd be happy to, how do you, how would you like to do it? I can lead you in, or I could stand and chant, present your genealogy, and you can walk on in all your regality and everything. So yeah, I don't want to seem like I'm a big thing, but I just thought it would be appropriate protocol. It is. And then he said this, he says, I wish I studied chanting in Hawaiian. And I said, oh, I said, let me tell you a story. There's Hina Keahi and there's Hina Kawai. I just ripped the story really quick. You know, Representative Kwananakoa, you have your mana. It's your mana. It's to be this leader in this building. Hopefully to do things that are good for everybody, but, you know, be paying particular attention to the Hawaiian people at the same time. That's your mana. I can't do that. Don't lessen yourself because we don't do the same thing and that you wish you could do what I do. I'm here so that you don't have to do that. You can do what you do. And that's what I want the kids to do. Let them find their own mana. Just like the Kolohe Keiki. We want him to find his mana too. Okay, that got us through Hina Keahi. I was super, super impressed with the Hina Keahi, Hina Kawai. I want to talk about several things. Okay, a time for a break. I hope this works. What? Okay, we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna go to another slide here. And it's to back up the cover. This is one of the things I wanna go to. Well, since we're on the idea of tarot, with, you know, when we talked about the two parts of tarot, I just wanted to clarify that. But now what I do want to say is, we talked about in Hawaiian, you know, they're saying knowing and learning, that we, I disagree with some people who say learning without utility is a waste of time. Sometimes learning some things isn't the useful, it's the next step. And I make that promise to most of my classes.
Isn't it also, if you kind of think about it logically, isn't there also utility finding out what you're not meant to do as well?
Oh, yeah. I'm
like that's like what I teach my students on that appreciation is like, I know you don't agree with that, but there might be something to learn from what they go about, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something you shouldn't do that they do. You don't have to agree with them, but try and learn at least something.
Yeah, absolutely. Not ever, just like I said with Representative Kwananakoa, some people do something, they just do it well, naturally. That's their mana. And I'm not trying to say that. But what I'm saying is, I know there's been discussions going on and we haven't had an opportunity to articulate it very, very well. But like ABCs, what good is ABCs? Well, nothing really. Why do we memorize them? Nothing. What happens is once you put all those letters together and then you start being able to read, but I, as a science guy, there's a lot of math you're going to learn that you'll never use, but you had to learn it to learn the next level of math, which you would use. Algebra, very rarely use algebra, but boy, do you use calculus. And you can't take calculus unless you know algebra. So that was the one thing. But one of the things was, what is the lesson with Paloa? Why did we talk about him? What was the whole deal?
Stay in your lane, bro. Stick to your own course.
Stick to your what? No, Haloa, not Hina Keahi, Hina Kawai. Haloa. But yes, you're right. Stick to your own course. Stick to your own mana. Your mana circle. Some of you call it a wheel, and those that you call it a wheel, I immediately see it rolling. And I said, oh, no, it's going to make me dizzy.
Oh, is it your Hana supposed to provide for your Hana and Aina?
Yeah, it does. And not only that, the embedding of these very familial terms, kupuna, ohana, are coming from actions that are occurring. That he was the hiapo, the big brother, who then took care. He has kuleana without looking for kulana. This kulana, what's the message in that? I want to reemphasize it because it's so relevant every time I walk around. What's the relevance of saying kuleana but kulana? What is the relevance?
I think, well, I don't know if this is correct, but you said something about you gain or you get kulana from taking care of your kuleana.
Yeah.
Is that it?
The connection that came to me was with this one guy. Oh, yeah, well, my dad's full Hawaiian. I said, oh, wow. I mean, I honor that. What does that mean? That both of his genealogic lines, both of them, go to Haloa. 100% of his genealogy. He gets Haloa from two sides. But what does that really mean? He has responsibility from two sides. So rather than brag, feel the weight of being 100% Hawaiian or 50% or any bit of the Hawaiian. But when you brag about it, then all I ask is, wow, that's 100% of kuleana. What have you been doing with your kuleana then? Because once you start doing that, then you're kulana. Then let people brag about you. People brag about Kamehameha all the time because he met his kuleana and exceeded his kuleana, right? But one of the other things was, in all the multiple ways we discussed this, was this. My family lives in California.
Who,
Yes, sir.
who gets to decide that?
What's
Like that
that?
he met his kuleana. Like how are you aware that he
You don't
met his
typically you don't typically decide it yourself. You will stand and people will recognize you, just like all the teachers that. Oh, by the way, Miley Manu Meyer, her sister is Miley, and then Meliana. There's 7 sisters, but Dr. Myers is a girl. I noticed you mentioned her in the he. And not that it even matters, but just in my mind, I picture her. If you ever met her, she's the warmest, nicest person. Her book is complicated, but she's really down to earth. Manu Meyer. She chose, and everybody, we talked about it, and we'll maybe briefly just go over it now. We talked about how you have to choose those elders, the kupuna, because we know the kupuna. Kumu Lake, to choose Kumu Lake wasn't to choose Kumu Lake. When he was 3, he studied under his grand auntie. So Kumu Lake, when she interviewed him, was 70. He reaches back to his grand auntie, who, if alive, would have been 150. That's how far his learning goes. His grand auntie was easily in her 60s when he would be sent to her house to spend the day with her. She was the chanter. She had all this knowledge. As an old person back in time, reaching farther back, she's reaching to the bottom of that iceberg. And Kumu Lake sat at the feet of those people. So who chooses it? It's seen. You can feel it when you talk to them. There are some that study that you're saying, oh, this is really awkward. I'm not feeling that mana, but it's whatever. Ohe pauka ike. They have knowledge that seems unusual to me. But anyway, that's a very good question. You become respected in what you do. You can be very knowledgeable, but if you're an ass, you're just an ass, you know? And so, and there are some, experts that are a little weird that way too. But not many. I can really only think of one. They were just kind of an ass. I said, God, you have so much knowledge, but nobody wants to listen to you. Anyway, Kumu Lake, he passed away, right? About 14 years ago now. Wow, 14 years ago. It really honestly seemed like yesterday. And my family lives in California. So I don't, the only people that could feel the loss of Kumu Lake, besides thousands who knew him and felt grieving, but none of them that I knew all my halal, all us chanters, all us hula, all us cultural practitioners that studied under them. We grieved, but you can't go to somebody who's grieving. You can't go to somebody who's grieving. They're grieving. I'm grieving. We don't want to hyper grieve. And I didn't know what to do. I can't call my family because they didn't know him. I can't call his Kumu Lake's family, who I lived with till his last dying day. I lived with the family, but we're all grieving. And so I remember I had to pick up some kids, and we went to a place called Ulupo. This is Ulupo in this picture. It's a heiau. It's in Kailua. It's used to be a human sacrificial or a heiau, but it's now a mapele, which is an agricultural heiau. It changed sometime in the Kamehameha era. But there was a big festival, cultural festival. So I brought some of my mentees, the kids I mentor, and we were walking around, and I turned and I looked, and I saw this taro patch. But what did I see? Oh, wait, hold on one sec. Hold on. Oh my God, this is worth stopping to share. The question becomes this. I'm gonna, and this picture, look at this picture. We know when we go to the taro patch, this person or people, maybe we'll call them people here, is this the great grandchildren of Haloa? Or is it the great grand nephews of Haloa? Or the grand nieces? Maybe I want to be gender equality. Who do we have here how many generations do we have from Haloa growing in front of you right here? Any guesses? Does anybody remember what an apical meristem was? We talked about it. It's this. We took haloa, right? Or when you go and you
Infinite.
Nope, close. You chop
Well, I guess as
off,
much water as you're allowed,
yeah.
as much as the water will provide.
You cut off the corm and you steam it. You cut off the leaves. And then you plant it. Rob, if I could take your finger, if you donated your finger to me and I could put it in the ground and it would grow, what would grow?
My knuckle.
You would grow. A whole you. So when we go to the taro patch, it's not kalo, it's haloa. That's how we trim it. And then you put him back in the ground and he comes back. And then you pull him, trim him, put it back in the ground and it comes back.
So are we all kind of part of one original plant? Is it kind of like we are all one body, kind of like in the Catholic faith?
We can say that. We can say that, but Hawaiians knew that they kind of branched out. There are 350 types of taro, and there's even some that are, we call ape, which is like taro, but they only eat it when it's in a famine. But we know it's taro when you can see the center of that plant where the pico is, right in the middle of the leaf, when it is surrounded by leaf like that. If the heart, the curve of the heart, if it doesn't touch the pico, boom, that's kalo. If it touches the pico all the way down, that's ape. That's an ape. But anyway, the idea is this, that just by the way we take haloa and we chop and we replant, it's haloa. It's not generations. It's still haloa growing in the taro patch today. In generality, you can grow them from seed. Yes, you can. But the idea in terms of your students is this is still waiting for you. And that occurred to me like never before when I came to this place and I had nobody to talk to and I had my students with me. They knew Kumu Lake died, but they only met him a few times. But I told them when I turned around and I looked at the taro patch, that's haloa. That's Kumu Lake's big brother, and that's my big brother. I asked the kids, just wander and go check out the crafts. Go check out the other people. I'm going to be gone for a little bit. And I just walked, and this taro was big. It was really big. So I just walked into the taro patch. I just hugged haloa, and because haloa knows Kumu Lake, and I know Kumu Lake. And that to me is one of the most meaningful lessons I got out of anything taught to me about kalo or halo. Or a lot of this is stuff I just put together. I mean, nobody ever put it meaningfully together. Everybody knows haloa. Everybody knows that, how you plant. But when you put it together to your students, when you take them to the taro patch, you take them and you tell them that this is not kalo, this is haloa. This is still him, the very, very person born of Wakea and Hoku Kalani, his daughter. This is the child, the very first Hawaiian, not the descendant. This is the very first one. So I remember one time, I'm going to click this off. I'm kind of tripping out still looking at haloa. I remember one time where Kamehameha School was bringing all the kids to the taro patch. I said, oh, this will be cool. And so I went to go meet my students, my mentees that I mentor that were at Kamehameha School. They said, hey, Kuba, we're going to be at Kaniwai, that's the UH taro patch. So I show up, and what are they doing? They just says, okay, everybody line up. Okay, we're going to clean this part. We're going to carry these rocks and we're going to flush out this ditch and we're going to plant them over there. What? Oh, that's what Hawaiians do. We go on the taro patch. No, not today. No. I took my kids aside. Said, this, did the whole haloa lesson. Now it's different. Now you're not just cleaning a taro patch. You're cleaning haloa's taro patch, his home. You're cleaning it because he needs a space to grow. You want to replant him. You got a name now. It's meaningful. It's intentful. Now it's a family member you're helping. It's not just a taro patch. And I know the teachers didn't like me to take my 3 students out of the 30 that were there, but there was no way I'm going to let them just clean a taro patch and get nothing out of it. except you did community service. You did something extremely Hawaiian for somebody that's extremely Hawaiian, and let's just do it, right? Even if you're a Hawaiian school and they neglect to do such things, let's be intentful about it. Okay, that is a kind of a big whoop-de-doo. Let's see. We got a good, did you have a parent come into your classroom there, Mr. Rob? Oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
I gotta go pretty soon here. So,
okay. Let me see. I'm going to try to see if there's anything of a lesson that I need to teach you. Some of the things we're going to learn a little know, and I think I could probably wrap up really quick. Just on the side, let's do this. You're going to like this one. Going back to the Lelo no of, I want you guys to see this one. It's kind of a cool one like this, right here. Iko Lelo no keola. Oh shoot, sorry, I have to put sound on. I want you guys to see it together with me. This way. Oh wait, sorry. You think I'd know how to do this without struggling? This way. Bam. Okay. This is only a few minutes, but I think it's going to be one of the things you will not forget in this class. Oh, okay. I have to start it up this way. Ready. Is it going? Okay.
Hi, Aaron.
Okay. Did everybody hear that? Anybody not hear that? That's a weird question if you can't hear it. Did everybody hear the voice, the sound right now? Okay.
Yes.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
Here.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aw.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run as fast as you can.
Holy crap. Hold on. I should have double checked that one. The message is there though. The message is there. There's a much longer one. It used to be on the website, on the Canvas site, but I'll go find that one. They talk to the adults later in the thing. It's only about another couple minutes. I looked at it. For some reason, it's no longer available, so I had to find a backup, and I didn't watch the whole thing. But that whole thing, that whole fight like a girl comes out of that Olelo no Iao microaggression. I mean, I fell right for it. I watched it. I giggled the first time. Now I can't watch it. Honestly, I can't watch it, and without kind of tearing up, because I'm kind of, I was that guy that would have done something stupid and silly like that. I was hiking with a bunch of Hawaiians one time, and this little 5-year-old was just, he's too tired. He didn't want to hike anymore. He's whining and he's complaining. So in Hawaiian, I remember, I said, like, are you a little girl? Boy, his mom turned around and looked at me, and that was my lesson. And I thought about it. I just felt terrible. Yeah, you're right. I just insulted a Hawaiian, and I insulted Hawaiian women. Like, I just did this huge insult this was probably 20 years ago or so. But
and you insulted a kid.
Yeah, and not only that, yeah, like I did, but that was coming from a Marine Corps background. We'd say stuff like that all the time. But I can't stand stuff like that anymore. I cannot stand it. I can't stand when people do stuff like that. It's really so disrespectful. But I went and I apologized because she was my hula, she was my chant sister. And I apologized and I said, that was a terrible lesson I learned that way. I also don't like whiny kids though, but he was whining. He's just 5. He doesn't know. We're adults. We have longer legs. Anyway, there's a couple things. Let's see. That I want. Gosh, I wish you would have seen the whole thing. It's meaningful, but I'll put it on the website. If you watch it, I guarantee it will be something you will share. Let's do right now another Olelo no Iao. It's pretty straightforward. I know you guys are going to get it really straight, easily. Can you see? Okay, it goes like this. Okay, let me do it correctly. I'll do it nice and dark. A lot of you will know some of these words. Let me do this right. Okay. My brain is kind of freaking right now. Okay. There's an A in here. Maybe not. We'll take the A out this way. I know some of you, if you've seen this before, I humbly ask you, we'll back off a little bit. Okay, you guys start choosing the words, you're going to tell me what they mean. Any of these words?
Aina, land?
Aina is absolutely land. Right here, is that where you're looking?
Yes,
Well, what about here?
that too.
That too. Next one.
Doesn't Malama take care?
It does. You mean, are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
To take care? You mean like this one here too?
Yeah.
That's what's nice about these. Any others?
Kako, all of us.
Kako means all of us. All of us. It's a kako thing. That's what we say in Hawaiian. And right here, all of us. Has anybody seen this before already? It's pretty common. Anybody seen this proverb before? Okay. Brother Rob. Oh, Brother Rob's gone. Let's see. Who can I? All you guys probably know. Rhonda, I'm going to press you. This one. We got the the right here in the middle. This means for the reason. For the reason, right in the middle here. Miss Auli'i, can you tell me what this is saying?
I think I can, oh, I cannot see it, wait.
Oh, if you're on your cell phone, you'll never be big enough. Are you on your cell phone?
Yeah, because my
Okay.
computer internet is
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's hard.
Malama ika no kamea
Malama kako ika aina.
Malama kako ika aina. So we all need to take care of the land. Therefore,
Okay.
the land will take care of us.
Because malama ka aina ya kako. Because the aina takes care. We
Takes
take
care
care
of
of the
us.
land because the land takes care of us. Something very straightforward. And now that Mr. Rob is gone, and I'll probably let the class go in about maybe 3 or 4 more minutes. Some of this stuff we can catch up in a different time. But malama kako ika aina, we all take care of the land for the reason or because the land takes care of us. And that's a really important thing. And the reason why it's more than just a statement, that's another Orelo Do'el, is it puts a perspective. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's another one. I'll share another one later on another day. But it's the mindset that we're looking for. And let me show you this like this. Can somebody tell me what's happening here?
The deer is crossing the
road.
street. Yeah.
Okay, anything else you see? Here we go. The deer is crossing the road. The deer isn't crossing the road. Why?
The deer standing in the road.
Because it
This
got
is
hit
the-
by a car.
No, this is the mindset. This is the shift. It's right here.
Like the road is in the deer's
Way.
way. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the road is crossing the forest. The deer always walks here. And then suddenly man steps in and he puts a road there. So it's really not a deer crossing the road. We have to understand our relationship, the way we, in sort of Western ways of thinking, isn't exactly always the perspective we want it to be. And so when we want to try to ascertain a native or what we might call an indigenous perspective of things, then it will look like this. And that, when I read this, I said, that's exactly what I want. I don't want to protect the forest. I want to create a lifestyle where we don't have to protect the forest. And that was so what does that mean? What do we really have to do? We have to recognize what our perspective is and how to change that perception. And this is what it's like. This on the left is almost straight biblical. Man is, the steward of all things, and he's at the pinnacle, and even women came from man, and therefore, man dominates, literally.
Taking a photo of that, so I don't think I'm taking a photo of you.
No. This is all going to be on the. This is going to be on the website. I mean, I keep all the notes. This is on there already. But this is what we're trying to shift to, not the egocentric man, but the nature-centric. We are part of all of it. When we damage any of it, we're all damaged because of it. And this is this idea. I mean, these are all like philosophical ideas, but these are simple things kids might understand. But it begins that shift, that it isn't just kalo and that we're just ripping them out of the ground. It's haloa, and we're going to be appreciative of it. This is why when a lot of you wrote that you don't argue when the umeke is open with the taro, with the poi inside. But my mom's house took it a little further. They don't talk at all over dinner. They never talked. Once dinner started, everybody ate, but nobody talked. And when dinner was done, then everybody left the table, and then you could go on. But that whole idea that our perspective that we are connected to nature, that we are descended from nature, that Papa Hana Moku, the person who gave birth to the very first Hawaiian, says literally that the Papa is the earth, Hana, we're being born, all the islands are born from the earth. We are nourished from the earth. We'll be put back into the earth. These are all the various ideas. Hey, Makauka, we got another Haumana. We got after Maoka. You could quiz them on Alelo no Yao, Rob, but just don't butcher it.
He said no way. He said no way. I'm not going to put him down. You don't put him down, that man. He worked all day.
Yeah, it's not a put down. This is a lift up. This is an empowering thing. Let me see.
All right, I got to go here, Kumu.
Okay, run, bro. Run like the wind.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think what I'm going to do is he can watch this video. I just want to get some of these kind of cool stories out of the way because there's so many that come up. I'm going to make sure that we got everything that we intend on getting. Let me grab this here. Okay, here's a story, and it's kind of cool. So when I was getting my graduate degree, there was a girl named Kathy. For the life of me, I cannot remember. She was getting a PhD in education, and she did some research. It really starts back in 1978. They had a constitutional convention here in the state of Hawaii. And they felt that, culture was slipping. So we need to create they required Hawaiian culture to be taught, I think in 6th and 7th grade, or like in elementary school, but also in 6th and 7th grade in the middle school, you had to take some kind of Hawaiian studies program. They just constitutionally mandated it. The highest law in the state, the Constitution, says this is what you will do, right? So the school was having some difficulties. I wow, suddenly we have to teach Hawaiian studies. Well, they don't have enough particular people to teach Hawaiian studies. So where do you go if you need people to teach Hawaiian studies? Who do you go to? Somebody wrote it in your notes. Where do you go for knowledge?
To the source.
You go to the source, or somebody said you go to the kupuna. Aha, go to the kupuna. That's why they called it the kupuna program. And so you're going to find these kupuna that know certain bits of knowledge or types of knowledge, and you're going to have them, since you don't have enough for every classroom at every grade level in every school, the kupuna program is going to start like this. We're going to have one kupuna who will have a bunch of supplies, what she needs to teach whatever it is she teaches, and she'll just drive to the school, right? And what happened was, what it was primarily I'm going to take a step back, that she wanted to study is what is the schools creating now? In the place of the Kapuna program, what are we creating in terms of the children? But she said this, she took an example, it was a Waianae, it wasn't Waianae Elementary, but it was on the Waianae coast, it was an elementary school. I think this is a 5th grade teacher. She decided to take her 5th grade class all the way to the Kahala Hilton, I think it was, not the Kahala Mandarin, which it is now, but it was the Kahala Hilton. So it was a bit of time ago. And when she took all her kids there, why would she take them to that hotel?
For the dolphins.
She took, and they were probably there. She took them there so they can mingle and interact with the waiters and the waitresses, and with the gardeners, and with the valet, the garage parking car guys. In fact, the waiters and waitresses, they sat them down and says, okay, this is where you put the fork. They showed them how to set a table. That was the intent. That was the thought this teacher had put. And so we are teaching, what are we teaching the kids? What was when they done all those things?
Teaching
They
them
now
like
can,
etiquette or manners.
true, and then how to mow the grass, how to park the cars, how to set the tables.
Life skills.
That's what the Hawaiian way is now. It's commercialized, it's tourism.
It's Hawaiians need to serve the tourists is the lesson. If she took them to go meet the executive officer of the hotel to manage, if she took them to see chief of security, if she took them to the actual landscape designer, that's a career. That's where you build their dream. Instead, they now know how to set a table so that a tourist can sit down at it. They now know how to trim grass, park expensive cars. And that was what shocked this girl. She was getting her PhD, Kathy. She was but let's take a look at the turnaround. We're going to now have the Kapuna program to help kids learn cultural things. That was the intent of taking the kids to these events. All of them probably loved it. It's better than sitting in the classroom, right? They probably went to see the dolphins there anyway. But she realized in the Kapuna program, it was pretty heavily funded. What you have is the Kapuna gets all her bags out of her car, and she walks into the classroom, but she stands outside the door because the teacher says, Auntie so-and-so's here now, and she chants. She shows them how to do an entrance chant, and then she comes in and she lays out all her things. We're going to learn how to string a plumeria lei today, or I'm going to tell a story about Haloa or something like that. And the kids start talking, and the teachers tell the kids, hey, shush, right? Are there any challenges we see in that scenario right there? What's anything that feels awkward? Anything that seems a little unusual? She's done then. She leaves by, she puts the bags in her car, she drives to the next school, picks up her bags, goes to the next class. Chants into that classroom, sits down, and the kids are restless or whatever, and maybe they manage the kids well, they all learn a little something. Then she puts her bags in a car. Is there a challenge? Do we see, how could we improve this program?
I feel like it just sounds like surface history, just scratching the surface.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they taught, but look at the mechanism here. Who's the kumu? Who's the kumu in that scenario? The kupuna is the kumu. The kumu doesn't chant to the students. You kick those kids out of the classroom. You let the kupuna come sit down, prepare everything. And when they are quiet and when they are ready, they can chant in, and she will chant them in. That's the protocol. And once I take over a classroom, there ain't another teacher better open their mouth. Not another one of them. It's my class. When you say, hey, students, be quiet, tell the students this kumu can't keep you well behaved, or that this kumu, it doesn't have the power that I have as your real teacher. This is just the bag lady that comes in once a week. to meet the constitutional mandate. You know, and she has 5, 6 schools a day she has to go to get her little stipend as a kupuna, as an expert in these things, which they ran out of. So they started recruiting Makua. So the kupuna program became the Makua program. And but also when they, interestingly enough, when they started these, so the whole, it's, yes, you're in a way, Melissa, you're right. It's really the tip of the iceberg. She's chanting because that's traditional, but the kids should chant to her. Day one, you teach them a chant. I don't care how simple it is. It's simple. Just the simplest chant. Aloha e, or something. But in the end, you're gonna leave that room. I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna sit down. And when you chant it, I may or may not accept it. If I hear people talking and some of you chanting, no, you're not ready yet. And eventually they self-correct each other. Say, shh, shh. Makau, I, oli. Okay, they chant when they come together as one, just like at that school. That's why we chanted together at the beginning of every day. Everybody becomes in the same space. And when they come in, they realize I'm the boss. In a way, I'm the kumu. Ka'u kumu, right? But this is how we'll do it. And we'll have proper protocols. We'll have proper respect. I can correct, but I don't let other teachers correct for me. I ask them not to. If ever I do that, if I go into class, I will handle my own class. I know how to handle these things. But maybe some of these kupuna, they're just nice. They handle these kids like grandchildren, and we know how much they spoil their grandchildren, right? But then the Makua program has to, because they don't have enough people to meet the constitutional mandate. So now we have people that are really not that old. They're in their 20s or 30s, supposedly cultural experts. There was no accreditation to this process. But they also augmented with the kupuna, with the Hawaiian Studies program. And this was one of the most amazing things I have ever seen. The DOE, the Department of Education, put out the Hawaiian Studies book, right? So teachers don't have to, there is no books. So here's one they created, collated a whole bunch of things together. And with this PhD student said, allow me to show you, here's the book. She put it on the table, boom, right in front of us. We're all these grad students standing around her. Wow, okay. She says, oh, here's the Outrigger Hotel coffee table book. And lo and frickin' behold, Kamehameha statue right on the front of the cover. Said, wow, that's a coincidence. She says, no. She opened it. Big old plumeria. The first, empty page, just a big plumeria. Turns it. Oh, look, it's Kauai. And Kauai is Moki Hana. And its color is purple. It was the same, it was Outrigger's coffee table book. It literally was the tourist industry's interpretation of Hawaiian culture that the Department of Education co-opted so that they could quickly have a book to teach in the classrooms. It was really poorly. Everybody meant well, but nobody did it with intent. And that was the sad thing. For 30 years, it's been 42 years, 44 years the Kupuna program's been around. But the first 30 was just a joke, kind of. All my aloha to the Kupuna, they were doing their best, but there was nobody designed for success, nobody designed for impact, nobody designed with real intent. They didn't think. I remember this curriculum I teach you, I first taught a lot of it to middle schoolers. And I remember I said, I put a little curriculum together. I went to this, it was just for the summer. I said, these are the things we're gonna learn. And they said, oh, no, Kiai. No, that's too much. They'll never learn it. They'll never learn, these Hawaiians will never learn all that stuff. I said, well, excuse me? So yeah, they're gonna get frustrated. They're gonna not want to learn. They're gonna just rebel. I said, oh, okay. So what did I do on the first day of class? Hey guys, this is what we're learning. They told me in the front office, you'll never want to learn it, that you're not smart enough, which they said. I couldn't believe it. I almost wanted to punch the dude out. They learned so much and more than what I wrote down that on that last day of that summer program, again, I said, never cry on the first day. You can cry on the last day, but don't bawl your face off. I was bawling my face off. I mean, you can't talk, you're slobbering. I so love those kids. They really, because I put my heart into that. I said, every day we meet, we only meet once a week, and it was going to be like 6 weeks. We're going to go somewhere. We're going to go somewhere. And just, okay, well, you can only have the bus for like 3 days. Well, I have 6 days. I said, I'll pay for the rest of the days. And then afterwards, they said, oh, no, we'll pay for it. But every day we went. The people were there. I called them ahead of time intensely. I said, I've got a bunch of kids. Is there anybody there that's going to receive us? Yes. Do they know how to chant? No. Can you find somebody to meet them and chant? Because I will chant on the behalf. I'll make a protocol that I will chant in first, turn around, because these kids are going to chant in. And then I tell the kids, here's the chant. We need to learn it. You need to learn it, because when we go, and we're going to every place we go, they're going to expect you to chant. If you want to embarrass yourself, go ahead. The kids in middle school, they just pick stuff up like this. There's this crazy memory. They just pick it up. And everywhere we went, we chanted. And everywhere we went, they learned a little. And every time we thanked them. One time we went out to Olive Farm. There's a big old halal there, a big old thatched hut. And we show up, and I realized Eric Enos is the one who runs it. I know he's going to take us into the taro patch and all these cool things. It was all good. And then I said, so I saw it all in my mind, and we had somebody who was going to meet us and chant us in. We were going to chant. They were going to do a greeting chant. And then when we got to the halal, it was already half filled with ex-convicts. I was like, holy cow. You could tell they're ex-convicts, got tats, and they're still in their kind of, I think they were actually still in prison. They were convicts. They were wearing their whatever they wear in jail. And so I said, okay, that's it. We're going to learn, we're going to go in the taro patch. And we did everything together. And I said, and we had some time left over. And I said, okay, you kids are going to teach these gentlemen here this hula, this OEVA. I don't know. Any of you guys know OEVA? OEVA. Kumu Lake wrote that. Anyway, I taught it to the kids already. And they says, okay, they all get up. And to me, that was super empowering, because I was a little intimidated. If anything got out of control, I have to protect my kids. I don't know how it was going to happen. I mean, I'm not that good of a fighter, but when it comes to protecting kids, people will hit the ground before I will. But once we got them to do, those guys loved it, all those prisoners. And the kids felt super empowered. They felt like a kumu. That was that I didn't know was going to happen. I mean, I didn't know it was going to make them teach. But I said, here's an opportunity for them to step up from Haumana student to teacher kumu by simply teaching this. I think I'm going to probably wrap it up there. I'll have to reorder a little bit about the things I want to talk about. I talked about most of the stuff. I didn't get to talk. Does anybody have any questions? I also wanted to, hopefully if everybody shows up next week, we'll play the game, but I also want us all to talk about our projects. If anybody can share, other things. I know I want to spend some time talking about Ho'oponopono because I think it's a great tool, but the way it's written in the book is complicated. It's really, there's a down-to-earth way that you talk from your heart about it. Everything your heart says, that's what it is. To know the words mahiki, to know the words oki, is not the important part. The important part is to know, what do I wish to accomplish? Why do I wish to accomplish it? Am I the one to do it? And how do I do it? I'd like to do that in the next class. Let's see, 6:30. It says 6:30. I don't want to keep you guys. I always keep you late. I appreciate your time. I know it's a lot of stories. When I saw what I said, oh my God, am I supposed to cover all this crap today? That's crazy. But we'll go over some of the stuff I skipped next week. Only one real thing or a couple real things. And you'll be glad we do pick it up. If you have any questions, stick around. Or if you have any now, I'll take them. If not, as usual, I'll stick around and you guys can. Okay? Thanks for all getting together, the whole class. I'll see everybody.
Hey, hello.